7904, joined today by Chris Kirkwood. Kurt D's 2 hours NBA DFS conversation nonstop, taking y'all straight up to lock beyond as well a little bit if questions allow. Yeah, dude, it's Friday, Kirkwood. We were a minute or so late because we had to get that story of your. I didn't realize what a terrible. You were a problem child. You were the kid that John Ritter adopted in that movie. Different kid, but yeah. Kirkwood, it's good to hear stories from your past, though. Always appreciate that first show. If you have RG Premium, you should get access to like the first minute before we go on air because that's always interesting, especially when Kirkwood's here. What's up, Kirkwood? How are things? Happy Friday.
Things are good. A little hectic. Things are cold. It's like 10 degrees out where it feels like -5 degrees. It's horrendous actually. But what does it really matter to me? It only matters because it doesn't allow me to take my baby on a walk, and it doesn't allow me. Phil the dog suffers. He can't stand going out in that. So yeah, we're cooped up inside, but DFS takeout, we're good to go.
Did you order takeout already, or it's on layaway?
Oh no, it's on layaway.
I'm told from several RG people that allegedly Boston is the best Chinese food in the country, which is a bold statement.
Is that who the hell said that?
Producer Rob, I believe, is who said it.
He's from here.
Yeah.
You can't. If somebody else said that, laid claim to it like that, then
he would know better.
I think New York City is the best Chinese food in the. I think we're very good. We have Chinatown, which is very good. One of my favorite places. I do hot pot. You ever do hot pot?
What is this?
Hot pot. Have you ever had hot pot shabu? It's amazing.
I don't know what you're saying. I hear words, but I don't think I know.
Okay, hot pot.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I just don't know what that means.
So it's like they give you this great broth, and then they like all fresh veggies, whatever you like, wontons, whatever, all these different things, and then like meat, like that's like sliced incredibly thin, and that you cook it yourself in the broth. It's so good.
There's a high pot, which is not too far away from me. I'm not really sure what that is, or
hot pot. Anyway. You could search shabu. Shabu.
Is that an S or a C?
SHABU.
All right, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm in South Florida, so it's a melting pot. We got everything down here.
Yeah, producer has the picture
on screen, Dean.
Yeah, producer knows what's
what?
going down.
Look at me slacking there. Oh, look at that. Oh, I like sharing. I'm not compatible.
Yeah, it's a little different nowadays. I wonder how COVID has affected. I've been there.
Looks kind of fun though.
It's awesome. It's and it's funny because a lot of people have so basically the way the restaurant's set up is they have tables like that where everyone shares. But it's also then there's like the single seating, like which is all the way around in the middle of the restaurant. So you can be like on a date and you don't have to like look at the person in front. You know what I mean? You can just kind of like you're like into your food. It's a great first date. You know what I mean? Something like that.
It seems like a bad first date though. You said you don't even look at the person?
No, that's good. It takes like it takes that uncomfortable like awkwardness where you just like like looking at each other. Maybe it's not a great first date. Maybe it's not the one, and you want to still get to power through.
It's like you're on one of those Netflix reality shows or something like that. But isn't there that one where you don't see anybody? I don't know. I got roped into one time, but we'll move on. Hey, 8 gamers today. One of the big pieces of information we're waiting on is again with Joel Embiid being questionable, again with Rudy Gobert being questionable. If Embiid doesn't go, of course, a ton of stuff will open up. Mostly Harden, and then whoever starts at center, maybe Harrell. I've not even checked his price yet today, to be honest. And then if Gobert doesn't go, it would once again presumably be Naz Reid season. Interesting slate for a Friday night. It's kind of a sprint slate, right? We have 8 games, but we have 3 at 7 o'clock. Yeah, 3 at 7 o'clock, 1 7:30. We have 3 8 o'clock. So 7 of the 8 games are done within the first hour or have tipped off, locked, whatever word you want to use. No 10 o'clock games, no 9:30, 9 o'clock, Atlanta and Utah.
Which is beautiful.
I mean, I like that too, but it's like I don't have plans at 9:30 to be. I'll be honest. I went out earlier in the week. I hit my quota.
Where are you living right now? Where are these days? Where are you? You back in Nashville?
No. I'll be in Nashville next week. I'm still kind of hopping around, but right now I am in South.
Whose
Florida.
couch are you on? Or should I say actually?
Yeah. Is there any other like prominent DFS players or any DFS players that are known that I'm trying to think who you can isolate that play that's from South Florida? Not really sure. I think
you're
Dink is from down here, but he's not living here now. But yeah, I'm not on his couch. Correct.
I think Killer B's out there.
Oh yeah, I
think
he's playing poker by Hollywood. I'm not too far from that. The Hollywood Hard Rock.
Yeah,
yeah.
I spent a bunch of time there. So, are you the one in Tampa or the one in Hollywood?
No.
Outside,
Yeah,
outside
Hollywood.
of Miami. Yeah,
I'm not by Hollywood.
I used to go to Fort Lauderdale, and that's I've been to a poker tournament out there.
Yeah, the room is actually. I was there with a friend not too long ago. The Hard Rock. We'll talk in a second. Obviously, got plenty of time to knock out the 8-gamer. We're here for the next hour and 15-20 minutes until we yield to the Crunch Time crew, which is Andy Means. You got Kevin Roth, and I believe SquirrelPatrol is coming out on a Friday night. But yeah, they've done a really nice job there. The Hard Rock it's beautiful. They just built a guitar too. It's just kind of like, it seems like something that would be on the Vegas Strip, which I think will be on the Vegas Strip soon, right? Isn't that what is replacing the Mirage? I think that's what's happening at some point. But there's a big old like massive like hotel guitar in the middle of Hollywood, Florida. Which yeah, all right, we shall move on. Overview as far as the slate today. What do you have as your general assessment? What are you waiting on? How important is the Embiid injury? I saw somebody in chat asking the odds of him playing or not. I think there's a legit chance he doesn't play, and it could be James Harden season. James Harden just quote unquote snubbed from the All-Star game. You can get angry James Harden against a Spurs team that's terrible and injury riddled. He can have a massive game. We have the revenge game of Domantas Sabonis versus Tyrese Halliburton, and I suppose Buddy Hield. Those guys are going at it tonight.
So did we get new? Is Halliburton? So he's still questionable.
I don't think he's. People were saying because it was a back-to-back, but look, man, there ain't no way.
But he was on the report as questionable.
Okay, yeah, I did see that, but I'm officially saying he's playing. He's not. There's no way he's not going to play against his old team, Sacramento. And if that was the case, like they wouldn't let him do back-to-backs, they would have just sat him yesterday and let him play today against Sacramento. No? Does that make sense?
Sure. I mean, a lot of things make sense, and then it happens the other way in NBA. So I deal with the info I have, and I try to run with it. Like last night, how fun was the Warriors situation?
Oh man, I mean, they knew the whole time, right? Is the whole point.
Yeah, it's not like Draymond was like, "Oh, how do you feel, Dre?" I think my ankle's a little sore, and I need to sit this one out. Like he was definitely never playing. It was in Steph. The funny thing is that in the quotes, like he was quoted saying that he was gonna overcome Steve Kerr's vote, for sitting, that he was gonna play. Like so, Steph thought he was gonna play even when he was doubtful.
I didn't see that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then they moved him up, but there was never any word on Draymond, except then it came out that he was active or whatever. They actually announced him starting, right?
I think he was. I'm not sure it was the official starting line, but they called him like a late scratch. I think he was officially scratched after that game locked. And the wild thing, of course, and it always happens like this. If you're not paying attention, you got awarded because what's his name? Kuminga played great. Well, yeah, you probably should have taken Kuminga out because he wasn't supposed to start, right? And what's his name was even good. Ty Jerome was good for 3K. And the guys that I put in there, yeah.
His nickname?
This is Ty Jerome, or this is oh god, it's something that rhymes with
it's Romy Rome. It's Romy Rome. They call him Romy Rome.
What?
I don't know. It's his nickname, Romy Rome.
I don't know if this is real or if it's not because I don't know.
This is real. This is real. I don't make these things up. Yeah, Romy Rome.
I don't think that's real. But let's check. It might be.
Don't worry. Don't waste the time. You don't have to check. Let's just keep moving.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will check on my own time, I suppose. Anything else of notes? Do you have a thought as far as like Gobert? The whole thing of Gobert is like, well, they're just clowning around there in Minnesota because, of course, he's going to play because he's played the last 9 games with the same injury. But out of nowhere, he actually was a scratch, and it was not his Reed season. He's no longer 3-8 on DK, but he's 4-8. He still would be, quote unquote lock season, Nas season, whatever you want to say. If Gobert doesn't go, that game's 8:00. The Houston game is 8:00, and we know Doc Rivers does not care about your DFS team. He does not care. He will not tell you. He's going to give you, and we're going to get this at 6:30. We're going to get still game time decision for Embiid, and then maybe we get an update around 7:30. So just be prepared for that. Like, I don't think we're going to know on Embiid. And I guess I'm wondering, how are you planning on that as far as making your lineup not knowing? Or are you guessing? Are you leaning a certain way? Like, if you have Harden anyway, Harden's fine, but it's, catapult to an elite play. So what's your plan as far, assuming Doc does not help us out, and give us information before 7 on the East Coast?
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to assume that he's playing, but
Yeah.
I get it that it makes, like, it's against the Spurs. So if there was ever a spot where you could kind of just rest him, it would be this one. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that he plays. And so that's the way I'm looking at it now. But obviously, if I have to pivot, I'll pivot. It's not the best timing on the slate, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of approaching him. I'm kind of approaching everybody as playing all these guys. Like, and I don't really. I'm just making my lineups now.
It's tricky because I want to play Embiid if he plays too. So, I mean, it's not a direct swap to Harden. You can do like a 2v2, and you do have other games, Toronto and Houston. Those games are, and Orlando and Minnesota, not the most appealing game, but it's just out there. Atlanta, Utah.
Utah is pretty appealing. I think it's fine. Yeah,
you can figure it out. By the way, according to my Google, maybe your Google's different than mine, but Ty Jerome's nickname is Milk. I did not know that either. So
no, that's his old nickname. They didn't update
it. They've since updated that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we should acknowledge? Anything else we should talk about before we dive in and break down this 8 game?
I just want to reflect back on this week. This has been like the most tilting DFS week for me for NBA. How many people out there had Chris Paul the other night?
I didn't, but I think he was.
I want you to feel your pain. I want to, misery loves company. I want to hear people who played him. There was that.
Though, didn't you crush the slate last night despite complaining about Zach LaVine?
Correct, but that's because Giannis went nuclear and nobody played him because people were speculating that he was going to be out, which I wasn't. But
you can have both. You're allowed to complain and scoop the slate.
Yeah, but I've had a run. The other nights I've run so bad. I've had 2v2s and everybody. I had a 2v2 against KCP and who went for a season high, and I can't remember. It was 4 players. I had 2 different 2v2s to make my night, and they were every player I was up against was a season high. It was Kawhi when Kawhi went absolutely nuclear. And then I needed just 25 points from Chris Paul, and yeah, and I hate Chris Paul. I'm the biggest Chris Paul hater out there. So it was awful.
Yeah.
But anyways,
we talked about those.
Yeah. Kyle Lowry. I mean, I haven't played Lowry, but
it's over.
I feel your pain for the people who played Lowry.
He hasn't done anything since that game where he played 97 minutes when he was the only Heat player that you've heard of. That you remember he had the triple double. I don't know if he's done anything since that game. He's all of 36 years old, whatever he is, and he certainly looks at these days. And yes,
Chris Paul is 38. Yeah, so that's the thing is I had to choose, and it was stupid. I had the nuts, and I got off of it, and it was it was so stupid. It was De'Aaron Fox against the Spurs or Chris Paul against the Hawks. It was I should take the young guy against the Spurs, and it was massive difference.
Yeah, Butler was a big disappointment for me yesterday. Not to regale about everything, but did get a couple things right. I was wrong on Butler, but yes, we talked about this situation yesterday with Bones Highland. Bones, some people played him, and he was a DNP CD, and he's basically going to get traded. I don't
trade block.
Yeah, it almost seems like a lock that he's going to go. He unfollowed Denver on Twitter. And the other one we poo-pooed. Oh, the one that got me was the Herb Jones game where he 3-and-D'd the heck out of the game. 5 steals and 5 threes or something ridiculous. But we got it back with Josh Hart the next night. But that's how it works. Daily Fantasy Sports, one day you get it, one day you don't. It's a clean slate tonight. Very first game is the Hornets and the Pistons. Unfortunately, the Pistons cannot be snowed out every night, so we got to talk about Detroit. They're back. Haven't played in a while. 240 is the total. That's a massive, massive total. It's high and it's tight. The Pistons are actually a 1-point favorite, which, when does that ever happen? But the Hornets, they stink too. Cody Martin is out. Kelly Oubre is out. And I saw some speculation or the thought process that maybe we might get Gordon Hayward sitting on a back-to-back because I believe he sat
but he only played 25 minutes last night, I think.
He's terrible. It's over for him.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, when did like Zach LaVine become Gordon Hayward?
Oh, come on. You're insulting Zach LaVine now. That's not even close.
He deserves it. I don't know if you watched him play last night. He literally goes and stands in the corner and does nothing.
Is he on the trade block? He always seems to be on the trade block.
No, who was going to take him? He signed a massive contract.
I don't know.
Which was bad.
Maybe
idea.
Brooklyn will take him.
Yeah, so I mean, who does Kyrie think? Does Kyrie think there's this like big demand for him right now?
I mean, it's not in question. Durant's better, right? And like they couldn't get rid of Durant, and obviously I assume they're asking for a lot, but they couldn't find a trade for Durant. So they're going to somehow find a trade for Kyrie, which they might.
It's going to have to be. They might just do it to get rid of. Like if they might just take like Russell Westbrook on or something.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I would get it if the Lakers are doing it. They're not giving up a lot. I know that's already thrown out there. And of course, the reuniting of Durant and Westbrook and the reuniting of Kyrie and LeBron. And if they don't have to give up AD, that's a legit big three, I suppose. We still need 3 and D guys around LeBron, which they have 0. They've yet to figure that one out. But yeah, and LeBron's not getting younger. He's incredible. But like theoretically, at some point, like he's going to run out of years. But, while you have him, you might as well take your best shots. And it's kind of wide open. I think it's kind of wide open this year. So I wouldn't hate it if the Lakers did something like that. But, yeah, trade deadline in 6 days. As far as the Pistons, who's in, who's out for them, they're pretty healthy, right? Diallo expected back from his illness. And Corey Joseph is out, who really cares. Bagley's been out basically for months now. Yeah, great matchup. 2 of the worst defensive teams in the league in this matchup. Charlotte versus Detroit. Where do you want to start?
Halliburton is playing. Just wanted to share that with you.
I confirmed that 10 minutes ago, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you were correct for one time in your life. Okay. So this game is juicy. So it's a 1-point spread, like you said, high and tight. 240 point total. 2 fast-paced teams. The Pistons have been playing much faster. They're up to 12th in pace on the season. The Hornets are 7th in pace. The Hornets don't defend the 3-point line. The Pistons have been playing some of these young guys good minutes, so we have some good salaries out here, like Alec Burks. I like Jalen Duran in this spot tonight at 5,400. We always like centers against Charlotte. Charlotte gives up a ton of blocks. They're 29th in opponent blocks per game. The Pistons are 28th in opponent blocks. It is a good spot for Plumlee. I mean, LaMelo has a massive ceiling, and this is a game where he could absolutely go off. I know it's the back-to-back, but this game environment is worth it. So I think he could go absolutely nuclear in this game against the Pistons. We love attack. They have no one that can guard him. He's always like a massive threat for steals. He's just going to chuck from anywhere. So if he's having an on game, I mean, he has like such a higher ceiling than a lot of these other guards. Well, I think we're both going to like the same other guard in a different game, a little bit later. I think that
FVV?
I saw that you right. Yeah. This is an FVV game for sure. Yep. So I actually prefer FVV to LaMelo, but LaMelo is like number 2 for my guards tonight.
You know what I just hate seeing is FanDuel, just worth noting here, this ownership on Alec Burks. Have you seen this or no, by chance? It's outrageous.
Let's see what I got.
I kind of get it. Like, I don't know why the Pistons are playing Alec Burks 28 minutes, but that's what he's projected to do, and he's projected to start, and I guess that's what they're going to do, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to them to keep giving minutes to him, unless they're quote-unquote showcasing him. As I always say, like if like a GM doesn't know who Alec Burks is at this point, it probably shouldn't be a GM. 48% is the ownership on FanDuel, which is outrageous. Point guard, shooting guard eligibility, and I know he's down to 5K there. DK, it's not as much. He's 5'1", but still almost 20% for Burks. I'd really like to try to avoid playing Pistons, but this matchup is pretty juicy. I have no problem with Burks. I do have a problem with the ownership, but I mean, he's played 30 minutes in 2 of the last 3 games. It's a really strong matchup. It's a much stronger matchup for LaMelo. Like I said, this is the second best matchup you can get for LaMelo. But Burks is a scorer, right? And if this game's going to be tight, massive total, he's going to be out there chucking. This could go pretty well for him here. So you gotta ask yourself, is he worth it at that ownership? But
if you're playing like small field stuff like I am over like on Yahoo or wherever, like I think he's a fine play.
Yeah, no, he's a fantasy appointment guy. 1.02 on DK, 0.99 on FanDuel, and he's going to play 26 to 30 minutes, and he's facing the Hornets, so it's a really, really good math play. I just don't like, as a general rule, I like to avoid the Pistons when I can, but I guess I'm going to have to play some Alec Burks, which I'm not happy about, but it's probably going to happen. Other Pistons, Bogdanovich.
Durant is my favorite. Then I like Bogey. There's always potentially good upside there. He's been, it's nice they've cranked his minutes back up because sometimes he's got low minutes, but that's also a function of blowouts and whatnot. But because he's the first to go when they get blown out. But if you trust this game, I do trust this game. I think it's going to be a tight game. So Bogey's certainly in play.
How many games? I feel like the Pistons, like they had the cancellation. They were in Paris. I feel like we haven't seen a ton of them lately. Have they played like a really limited amount of games of late?
Yeah, they haven't. The last game they played was on the 30th.
Yeah, and then like before that, they had traveling back and forth. They had the break. Okay, well, yeah, all right. You think that matters, or you don't care?
No, what angle are you gonna?
I don't know. Maybe some of the guys are rusty. Maybe like the coach wants to expand the
rusty or rested. Rested, which way are you going?
Yeah, well, you play the results that way, right? That's how that works. It's like, well, now we know if they are rusty or if they're well rested. But it obviously doesn't help until if you only figure it out after the slate is played. Maybe the coach would expand the rotation a little bit. Just kind of keep everybody involved because a lot of guys haven't played a lot of late. Just a thought, but never mind. Throwing it away.
You're not all lubricated for this game.
You mean generally speaking, I love like two terrible teams at 240, and like basically a pick 'em. But whenever it's the Pistons involved, they're just the worst. But
yeah, I hate Dwayne Casey too. Like he's always going to screw you somehow.
Well, it's not personal. I don't think he's not. He doesn't have anything. He's not like there's no dartboard of you on it. With your picture on his house. You understand? Like that's just what he does. That's how he coaches. He doesn't really care about Kirkwood and Kirkdees,
Who knows?
Maybe he does. Maybe he's blocked you on Twitter for all we know. And
yeah, how did that happen? Did you know?
Oh, wait, but what now?
How did you get blocked? What'd you say? You had to find it. Did you search Reggie Miller tweets? Did you find a tweet that was like a little risque?
Well, I found one where I was making fun of him for like saying that Jokic he had 9th in his MVP balloting in 2021, like the last month of the season, which I thought was hilarious. 9th, come on, man, with an arrow up. But then I took a shot at his announcing. I was saying he was too much of a hunter. This is like 10, 15 years ago, like my first tweet ever, where I basically said, and I was where I cared about my team, and the Heat just played the Pacers, and he was on the mic. And he, in my eyes, as a dumb Heat fan, I thought he was being biased.
You were never blocked by that Raptors beat writer?
Oh no, I never really crossed paths with them. But yeah, I never was. To my knowledge, I've only been blocked by one person. Are you blocked by anybody to your knowledge?
That's the only one I can think of. I'm sure there's. I think Eric Crane blocked me. I think.
Okay. Do you know what you said, or just got the block?
Yeah, probably a jerk. I kicked him out of the Corona Poker Club.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were
due to other people's pressure and whatnot. So I had to, and I think ever since then I've been blocked.
By the way, shout out to Breaks. Breaks in chat was talking about Dosunmu yesterday, and I think he plays Dosunmu all the time. He mentions him a lot, and that was one of my emergency pivots because I lost Ty Jerome, and I had money for Dosunmu in a couple of lineups. So I think my best lineups, he put 23 points in the bucket, something like that.
Hey, as much better than Zach LaVine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's no Gordon Hayward. Okay, so up next, we're talking about again 3 games at 7:00. The second game we're going to talk about Sacramento, Indiana, 233.5. All of the revenge in the world, how vengeful, how much John Wick, Domantas Sabonis has in him or not. But, you've got to love Sabonis. The absence of De'Aaron Fox, of course, in this game. Sacramento is a 3.5-point dog. Indiana, the back half, but back-to-back here. as far as who's in and who's out, yes, Fox is out. Indiana, we just got it rolled in. Halliburton, good to go with his revenge. Daniel Tice, I think, was he available too? He actually played a few minutes last night. His first
7 minutes or something.
Yeah, first cup of coffee of the season. That's what Indiana needs is more bigs, right? It's like we got Gogo Wataze, we got James Johnson, we have Isaiah Jackson, we have O'Shea Brissett, Terry Taylor. Can we get one more guy that nobody else wants? Yeah, let's get Daniel Tice in the mix too. So, yeah, big deal. Aaron Fox being out. We're assuming that Davion Mitchell is going to draw the start. But yeah, Sabonis looks awesome. One of my favorite big spends on this slate. And a slate that has 8 games, but like a lot of big spends aren't around, right? They played last night, Jokic and Giannis and Luka. We have Embiid potentially, but Sabonis certainly can be the highest scoring player on this slate. Are you, there's no secret. A lot of people like Sabonis tonight. He's not hitting optimals that I saw. Things can change for sure, but it feels to me like one of the best big spends. What say you?
Oh, he's hitting optimals.
Is he? All right, let's run him again.
It just depends where you're running it from.
Okay, well, yeah, you're getting like a combination of like 19 different places, probably. I don't know.
Probably. Just for this show, I only have 4.
Okay.
But
yeah,
but correct. But anyway, yeah, he's going to be extremely popular. He's going to be chalk tonight, and for good reason. And he's coming off of a massive game, and Fox is out, so you would assume there would be more usage. You have a guard who you're taking a offense first guard and Fox. Although I mean, he obviously is good at every angle. He dishes well and all of that, and runs the pick and roll well with Sabonis. But he's a much more of an offensive threat than Davion Mitchell. So you got to increase some usage for Sabonis. I like Davion. I think it's a good chance for him tonight. But I mean, the guy that's been shining the last couple of games is Malik Monk. Yeah, and he looked. Did you see him miss that dunk? He did. He pulled out like a crazy dunk, like it was going to be like dunk of the year, and he just it hit the back of the rim and shot out, and he was fouled. But it was the announcers were like, "What is he so mad about? Like, who is he mad at? Like, where did he?" Where did that get into him?
Did he get punched in the nuts too, like Donovan Mitchell? Is that what happened, like mid dunk?
But he's been balling. So he had 32, 33 minutes in the last 2 games. I don't think we should expect more minutes than that. I think that would be his ceiling. I mean, maybe he gets an extra couple, but I think he's going to have that opportunity because they're going to need him for offensive scoring with De'Aaron Fox out. So even if Monk isn't coming up in your optimals or whatever, I love Monk in this spot. Davion is
what
just
if he's not making a shot? The thing with Monk is like if he's coming up the bench and if he's not making a shot, like it can be a rough night. And that's just how that goes. And he's been shooting spectacularly, which is why Herter has not been closing, right? So he's been closing in the place of Herter. And I'm curious, do you think Herter now has a safer path as far as closing tonight? Or is it Mitchell that's going to close? Is it like a fluid situation depending on how well these guys are playing? You assume.
I mean, there's certainly. I think his role is there, right? Like with that second unit to really be like the scoring punch. I think he's going to have the first opportunity again. I think it is somewhat of a fragile situation, like you're saying, because Davion Mitchell could play really well and be out there for minutes. But I think it just makes sense for Monk because they're going to need his scoring, is the way I did. And he's a scorer; he gets buckets. Yes, he's shot, but you're saying like it's because he's shooting so well, but he was attacking the rim so well. So I mean, he only shot three 3-pointers and 2 3-pointers in his last 2 games. So, and he made 2 of them in the last game. The game before that, he was 0 for 2. So it's not like he was getting to the rim in both of those games. I watched both of those games. So that's the guy I want tonight. Is the guy who's going to take over for Fox and get to the rim.
So very first optimal lineup on DK, I ran 150. I added some variants. Sabonis is in it, right? But he's only in, looks like 19% of them. There are 4 Kings in the first 2 optimal lineups. 3 in the next one, 3 in the next one, 4, right? Of course, like this stuff can all change if Gobert doesn't go, B doesn't go. But that is really interesting. I want you to rank the Kings. How many Kings is too many Kings? Is 4 too many? 4? I think 4 is too many. I think. Not saying you can't do it, but it feels like it's too many. How many is too many? And power rank the Kings for me, because I think there's probably 6, right? We have interest in.
I don't think 4 is too many because of pricing. If this goes right. So first of all, like the Pacers are a great matchup. right? They're on a back-to-back. It's a nice total, 233. It's a pace-up spot. The Pacers are fourth in pace. The Kings love to go fast. They are much slower without De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is the engine that runs this offense. So I expect them to slow it down a little bit, as opposed to playing with Fox. But I mean, if Davion Mitchell is good at 3K, he's going to smash. Like we've seen him in like some really good spots last season and do pretty well. But like he's been really bad this season, so I am worried about him. But like he's only 3K, so if he does well, that's fine. I like Harrison Barnes tonight. Unfortunately, it just makes a lot of sense for the usage to flow his way. The minutes are always there with that guy. He's cheap, and so I just think he's safe. As safe as and that's something that's crazy to say. Like,
do you want that though? Do you want safe? Because he's
no, but I think he's got sneaky. I think he has sneaky upside. Like I think he's going to be a scorer tonight. He's going to have to be. I mean, really, that's all he ever is. But like, I think he's going to need to be it even more. And he's cheap, so yeah, I like him. Now, is he going to absolutely bury you? Probably not. But if I fade him this week, probably.
Doesn't work that way. 30%. Like Monk has the biggest usage by far. For what it's worth, when you take Fox off the court, 30.4% usage. The spike is 4.5%. Barnes gets a 3.4% bump. Herter 2%, Sabonis 1.6%. Per 36, the biggest bump is one that matters. That's the interesting thing. It's like nobody gets a big per 36 bump as far as actual fantasy point translation, outside of usage. The biggest one is Monk at 2 points per 36. Not drastic, but and then incremental bumps for guys like Herter and Barnes and Mitchell. Mitchell's bad fantasy points per minute. They just announced he's going to start, not surprising. 0.66 on DK, 0.66, 0.5 on Fanduel. Better play on DK at 3K as opposed to 3.8 on Fanduel. Yeah, is he going to destroy you? Probably not, but I think he could be useful, like you said, to kind of make stuff.
Oh, he's definitely like if he's starting and he plays well, he's going to absolutely crush at his price tag.
So nobody is hitting my cap as far as optimals on DK, right? The most popular play, and this is kind of wild. I haven't really considered Josh Richardson at 55%. That one makes sense, but Dario Saric at 53%. What am I missing with Dario Saric?
Cam Johnson is out.
Yeah, that's right. I guess
but they're playing the Celtics. Like, I hate Dario.
Why do you hate Dario Saric?
I think he's a terrible basketball player, but he's just so slow and needs a haircut.
Personally. I think of him like when back when he was on those tanking Philadelphia teams.
He was great. Him and Rocco.
Yeah, Robert Covington and Dario Saric and
who's the guard? MCW. Rookie of the year, MCW.
Did he? He was rookie of the year?
I think so.
His very first game in the NBA, he dropped a triple-double in Miami. I remember that. I remember watching that game, but it was all downhill after that. Sacramento. So Mitchell, 46%, Monk, 43%, Barnes, 39%, Keegan Murray, 29%, and Sabonis at 19%. Just interesting. He's like the clear, like he's the best play. I understand there's context, but he's getting the lowest ownership. Yeah. So
they're all good plays. Probably play 3 of them max. But I think they're all good plays.
What about the Pacers? Fully healthy. You got Halliburton. You got a little healed revenge. Turner was great yesterday. Good matchup there against the Lakers. Oh, what was the guy? Who was Aaron Naismith? Who? I did not. I hate to be the guy that complains, but I didn't even know he was going to be tough.
You're turning into everybody else. And that was the guy last night that everyone liked to complain about.
I didn't get it. Like, I didn't know. He played 20-plus minutes in the first half. He was like 4 or 5 from 3.
They were going to use him to guard LeBron all game, so that he was going to get big minutes. So I get the play. Yeah. Sometimes he does absolutely nothing. Sometimes he is my former Boston Celtics guy. So I don't think he was an egregious play at all. I don't think he's an egregious play tonight. I think he's a good play. I think he's a fine play. I think the owner, like last night was like different circumstances. Yeah. Things just got crazy, right? Like we had no value. We had none.
Yeah. What are you doing with the Pacers?
At that point in time, when that game went off. But Halliburton, obviously, right? Like, so he's back, right? And so he's supposedly he was ready for a week and was working on conditioning all week and was good to go. And so like there was going to be people were like projecting him for like less minutes because his first game back, but there was coach speak and everything and Halliburton speak that he wasn't going to see any reduced minutes, that he was going to be full throttle. So some people missed the ball on that one last night, but and I had him in my lineup and I took him out right because the Knicks news dropped and I just didn't know what, I just
quickly, what a disaster.
Yeah. And then, but I think it's the same. I think all these guys are. I think this will be a Halliburton game. Obviously, it's the Sacramento, and this is the first time. Is it the first time?
No. They played last year.
First time. Yeah, they played.
They played last year, at least once.
Yeah. So they played once last year, and then at the end of the season, and then once so far this season.
Sacramento blew them out in one of those games. I was looking at the stat views on it. I was curious too. And Sabonis almost got a triple double. He played like 22 minutes.
Yeah. But Halliburton would be the obvious guy. The only other one, I mean, I'm always a Mathurin guy. He's up against Keegan Murray and they were drafted close to each other. There's a little narrative there. Maybe they show out a little bit more, but I don't like his price at this point. But so with Halliburton back, so Halliburton would be the guy. You can play you think Naismith will be popular? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I think he's a fine play. He's one of their best defensive players. He can get it going as he showed last night. It was against the Lakers. This is still a good matchup against Sacramento without Fox. This game is projected to be pretty close. So I think he's fine. But Halliburton's the guy, and Miles Turner you can always play. But I do kind of worry about the back-to-back with Turner.
For what it's worth, we have Naismith at 14% on DK, which is a little bit surprising, and nobody getting more than 5. Halliburton at 2%, which, it's hard. I'm not saying you can't play him, but 9-2. And like you said, it was an arm, right? It wasn't a cardio thing. So I think the cardio is fine. It was his wrist, I think it was. Maybe his non-shooting hand, I want to say.
I think there were 2 things, but...
Knee, was it a knee also? It was something else. But I think the one that was really serious was the arm.
A knee and an elbow. But his left elbow.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Portland, the Blazers. The Blazers are in Washington. 237 is the total. Portland is a 3.5-point dog. Washington fully healthy, unless you count Anthony Gill. As far as Portland, Nurkic's going to be out for a while, at least until the All-Star break. Gary Payton not feeling particularly well. He is questionable. Winslow still out, and Jeremy Grant should be good to go. He passed a concussion evaluation. So Lillard is outrageous right now. He's just making everything, shooting everything. Washington, perfectly fine matchup here. And the only issues here is, salary stuff. How much are you prioritizing Lillard? Because he's been, as you would say, he's been electric.
Electric.
Yeah, but he's 10-6 on DK. He's expensive, and he's also a guy that has to score like at least 30 points. He's not a guy that's gonna, 12 rebounds or 5 or 6 stocks or 12 assists most likely. Like he's got to score those 30 points. But he's been doing that and then some. So yeah, Lillard and the Blazers. What do you got?
Yeah, so I mean, I like it. I like the spot. So Nurkic is out, so that should be good for Dame. A little bit more usage flowing his way than with a guy like Eubanks out there, or maybe they're going smaller and then he's running a little bit more. Dame has been absolutely electric, as you said. I think Patrick Beverley poked the bear, when he did the whole Dame time, and he's just been, besides one bad game, he's just been absolutely going nuking, and he's played 40 minutes.
Go. That's a pretty fun one, right? The game time thing, pointing at the fake watch.
Yeah, did you see the thing of the video of the kids do the 6th graders I
did see that video.
Shooting threes and doing that? And they're like, we've gone too far.
Is everybody having a good time? Are the kids having fun? If they're having fun, cool. That's good enough, right? But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but Dame time, that's up there. But wasn't it? what Isaiah Thomas moment when he was good on the Celtics? What it was King of the Fourth, but didn't he used to do like the watch or something?
What did he do? He did something. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Maybe the watch too, but I don't remember. But obviously it's Dame time. But and it should be Dame time.
The X chop now, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. So they don't have anyone that can stop him in this matchup, I don't think. He should be full throttle. The scoring should be on his back. If he's having a bad game, I mean, you can play the Anthony Simons. Like, you can always do that because Dame's going to be pretty popular tonight. Probably around 15% or so. Anthony Simons would be a good leverage play because if Dame isn't scoring, Anthony will be, but it's more than likely going to be Dame. So yeah, I don't have nothing bad to say. I do like Jeremy Grant too. I think he was evaluated for a concussion. If he had any sort of concussion in that game, then he would be in protocol and not playing today. So I think we have to assume he's good to go, and there's not going to do any minutes limit on him, or I think he's just fine. So Jeremy Grant has been great in some situations without Nurk. Washington is certainly a matchup he can get some things going in this one. So I like him. I like those are the two, Dame and Jeremy. And then
is Eubanks worth a look for you? Eubanks is going to draw a start. Is that the only thing for you?
I think he's fine. I mean, he did well when in this last game against Memphis, but Memphis has been getting eaten up by bigs without Steven Adams. But I think he's fine. There's probably better plays, but I have no problem with him.
0.86 per minute on DK, 0.92 on FanDuel. Washington, for me, is one of the least appealing teams on the slate when you consider everything. On FanDuel, nobody's getting more than 6% ownership for Washington. On DK, nobody's getting more than 5% projected ownership. I don't mind attacking Portland, but this Washington team just not very appealing when you consider context. Question in chat, by the way. Porzingis or Markkanen, both $37 on Yahoo. Your kid Yahoo, do you have a preference as far as those two? And talk to me about Washington. Are they as unappealing as I'm suggesting?
Man, that's really close. I think Laurie's going to be more popular. So, and I think it's a really strong spot for Porzingis without Nurk. So I would take the lower ownership and play Porzingis. If you're playing like GDP, if you're in a cash game over there, then probably just stick with Laurie.
Well, if they're playing like a 20-man contest, that's a little different, right?
Wait, if it has GPP payouts, play Porzingis.
Okay.
So even if that was a 10-man.
Are you getting any Wizards tonight, like as priorities? There's no priorities here, right?
Nope. Porzingis this could be a really strong spot for him. He just absolutely nuked against the Spurs. Without Nurk, that helps.
Porzingis 9.4 on FanDuel, less than 1% ownership. But it's just hard to, if you're running 150, if you want to get 3%, sure. But I don't think you're taking a stand on that.
Oh, and isn't Beal really cheap tonight?
7.4 on day. He's, his usage is down a little bit. The minutes is the problem, right? 29, 32, 29, 30, 27, 28. They're just not pushing him. He just I think he's still kind of living in our brains as somebody that would shoot more. He's fine, but the price has adjusted. And I think his price is more correct than it has been earlier in the year. Yeah, I mean, he's okay. But if he's going to play 30 minutes,
he's not breaking 30 minutes, but you would think you think he may start sometime soon.
Why? Why would you think that?
I mean, why? What are they holding? What are they holding this guy back from?
He's got a history of injuries. They're not going anywhere, so there's no reason to push him.
Play your guys, right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what the philosophy is for Washington, but they're a dead team, right? And I don't know if is he can possibly move? Is he somebody they recently signed? Because I thought.
I mean, when he's on the floor, the usage has been there.
Yeah.
The efficiency hasn't been. The minutes, the 30. He played 33 against the Pelicans. I don't know. I think like at that price, I think he's gonna crush one of these nights, and you're gonna win a GPP with him.
He just signed. He's getting $43 million this year. He signed a 5-year, $250 million deal. He's at 29. Geez, this is gonna age poorly, I think. Yeah, he's not a free agent until 2027. And he makes 57 mil, 53, basically 50 mil a year. So good for him, but I think this is a bad contract for Washington. I don't know how tradable that is. They say some guys are untradeable, but then Russ was traded, right? So you never know. I think we're done, right? What else can we say here? We're moving on.
Go.
Okay, uneventful game to some degree. And this is another sort of uneventful, like Phoenix and Boston. 220 is the total. Boston, your Celtics, they are 10-point favorites versus the Suns. The Suns are going to be without Cam Johnson. But injury management, okay, the Suns are.
So they realized. So Cam Johnson can't shoot anymore, and he can't make a shot. And they've been playing him too much after his injury. And I think they're thinking the same thing. And then they were the worst team I have ever seen play the other night. Chris Paul was the worst player I have ever seen play. And I'm not kidding. And then you look at they've been pushing these guys 38, 39 minutes, 35 minutes for Paul in the games right before it. It's so I feel like they're overcorrecting everything right now. They're we're playing these guys too much. Now we need to bring it back a little. The only one who they will not bring back, they will play this guy, is Bridges.
They must play tomorrow night, I'm assuming. I'm checking now. Yeah, they play tomorrow in Detroit.
But you would think they would come back. They would come out a little bit better than the last game. With Cam Johnson being out, I think it just solidifies Torrey Craig's minutes even more. So I think we should see more minutes for him. Damian Lee maybe gets a bump. I don't know. I think there's some people are predicting a Koji to get some.
There ain't no way. Maybe
I
guess.
He's not. No, thank you. Against the Celtics, no way.
He just doesn't. When does he ever get run? Saric is the interesting one because we're projecting him to start. He's a .96 DK point minute player, .93 on FanDuel. Much better play on DK, 3.5 on DK as opposed to 5.1 on FanDuel. Again, probably some fragility to Saric, I assume. But if that holds, how many minutes are we giving him?
Chris Paul is a Hall of Famer. Put some respect on his name, Kirk. What has he won? What has he won?
Oh, come on. He's a Hall of Famer. Stop it. Let's not have this conversation. He's a Hall of Famer. What has he won? Basketball's a team game. This
guy was so bad the other night, I would never vote for him.
He had a bad night. You've had a bad day, haven't you? I've had bad days.
Yeah, I had a bad day playing him. Ruined my night. So you know what I do too? So I write so many, I want to be the complainer on Twitter, but I don't want to be. So I write it out and then I hold them back. They're all in my drafts or whatever. But I love just scrolling the player who's doing bad and just reading everybody's comment. This dude is so washed and how this guy last leg of my parlay,
who was the guy that came? Was it Draymond? Who somebody's it must be so annoying. It was already annoying enough for the players when you're on my fantasy team. And probably hearing about it every time they go out to eat. It's just whatever. And it's God forbid they have a bad game. And now if you couldn't make one more three or you couldn't have one more rebounds, it's got to be the worst. I mean, of course, there's other things to complain about.
I wish you could get direct access, where they would see it. And
what value did you get out of that when you tell Chris? You're telling
I just want somebody to listen. I just want somebody to listen. I just want to. I feel like I could improve a lot of these players. If
you're talking into the abyss. They don't care.
If they would just listen to me,
and you're done.
If these coaches would just listen to me, they would get much more out of their players. These guys need do you ever see a coach chew somebody out on the sideline? It rarely happens in the NBA. These guys need it.
Well, it's a players' league for the NBA.
You gotta let them know it's not okay.
Why isn't it okay?
And to get out, you gotta say, you gotta push the right button and motivate them and get them out there, whatever that takes. Whether you have to insult
You've seen too many basketball
compliment them.
Like that. Hey, mention this. We have a giveaway in chat. Producer Devin, it's Friday. He's feeling generous. Chat, what's up? Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, hit all the things. We're giving away a week free of RG Premium, and that's, for the record, not just basketball, but all the sports. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey when that's in season. We got golf, MMA, everything with the Line HQ. You got your optimizer, you got all the deal. Everything, the bells, the whistles, a la carte NASCAR, whatever. That's NASCAR. It's its own little world. But everything else, you get it for free for 1 week. How do you go about getting yourself 1 week free of RG Premium? Go to the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Go to the live stream chat channel. Put in a number between 1 and 100. One guess per person, and the same number cannot be used twice. It's the closest to Price is Right rules. This has got to be. We got to knock this out before we get the numbers here. Devin, you are lurking. Did I miss it? Closest to the pin, or you can't go over because there's a lot of gameplay if you can't go over. Important stuff. But check out the live stream chat channel. There's a link there in the chat as well. .com/Discord live stream chat, and closest but cannot go over. So it's very dangerous if you put a 75.
What's the number from?
It's a random number generator. You're picking 69. And why am I not shocked? But that's a dangerous number because you're probably going over 7 times out of 10. But risk versus reward.
What's the danger?
The danger is you go over and that's it. Your game's over. You're kaput.
Oh no.
It's game theory. We talk game theory here. We're doing game theory with our giveaways. That's all I'm saying. Like if 99 hits, if you put 90, nobody else is putting it. It's dangerous. You're basically throwing the game away. But 1 in 10 shot, have a good time. All right. We'll draw that in about 5 minutes or so. Yeah, jump in the Discord right now. How about the Celtics? How do we feel about your Boston? Go ahead.
You got to be in the NBA. You got to come over in the NBA Discord.
What is going on in there? You got to at me. Let me know. Okay,
downtown. So we have this electric new member, downtown Dougie Brown, Dougie something, and they banned him last night for a couple of days.
What did he do?
He's like the grammar police. He loves being grammar police.
Okay,
but I don't know. I stand with him, but I'm always looking out for the underdog.
You stand with the grammar police guy. That's your.
I know. Isn't that crazy? He's actually pretty funny.
I don't know. I hope he gets unbanned soon.
Yeah, you got to get in there and tilt some, and then or else like Riddles, Tennessee Riddles, or is the big dog running the chat in there. You got to get in there and push some people around a little bit sometimes.
Well, I don't want to push anybody around. Who do I think I am?
It's all in good fun. We got Roop. I don't know, Roop Insurance. He's always in there. Is
Chopper in there?
Yappy Cappy. No, Chop hasn't been. Chop's been MIA lately.
I haven't talked to Chop in forever. Is he coming to Nashville, or you don't know?
I don't think he's going.
Oh, Jesus. 3 minutes to the drawing, by the way. I see a couple people put numbers in the YouTube chat. Those will not be honored. It's got dropped in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Just put a number in there, only one number, and do not go over. Danger lurks if you put a high number in there, but risk versus reward. Talk about your Boston Celtics.
I mean, this is not a great game to be targeting on this slate. The Celtics are getting healthier. Obviously, I mean, if you could play Jalen or Tatum, I do think the Suns will come out a little bit better. I think the one guy that just is priced the best here is Robert Williams, Time Lord.
Sure.
He didn't have to play much at all. I mean, that was an absolute rout against Brooklyn. But the game before that, you saw 36 minutes, 31 minutes before that. So they've been pushing his minutes up. So that's the key here. So if this game does stay competitive, which I think it should, right? Then and I feel like he can have a way. Like there's going to be a lot of like the Suns don't have a ton of weapons. So the Suns' weapons are Ayton is probably their primary guy right now with Chris Paul, and so I think he's going to have a lot of action in there, and that's always good for his like blocks and rebounds and whatnot. So I think tonight's a night you can play him, and I don't think many people are going to actually. And he's got extremely low projected ownership, and so that would be my guy. Other than that, you can play Jalen or Tatum at any slate. I mean, they're ridiculous, but I don't really have much interest.
Okay, let's move on. Philadelphia at San Antonio, 234 is the total. Philadelphia 10-point favorite. Joel Embiid currently questionable. The only potential body part is the foot of Joel Embiid. That's a big one. That's a big deal for sure because he would absolutely annihilate this San Antonio team. They are the worst defensive team in basketball. They get annihilated on the inside as well. They also play pretty fast too. San Antonio, they're not just bad, they're injury riddled. No Jeremy Sohan, no Langford, no Devin Vassell, no Trey Jones, who got hurt last game. They're down to, it looks like we have 11 bodies. Who's this Dominic Barlow? He just got called up, I guess, because I didn't see that name earlier today. And Blake Wesley, a creative player, never heard of him before. So we're getting some potential value plays on the San Antonio side. Embiid's an awesome play if he goes. If he doesn't, Harden probably becomes the big spend on the slate. We said it before. We probably don't get this news until after 7 o'clock because Doc Rivers does not care about your fantasy team. What's to say here about Philadelphia besides, let me ask you this. Who would you rather build around? Let's just say Embiid's in. You can only pick one. You want to build out Embiid or Sabonis?
I mean, it's Embiid. You can't deny. I mean, Embiid, I don't know if he's going to have so here's the thing with Embiid. He has all the talent in the world. He can absolutely nuke, but he also can get lazy out there, game dependent. You saw what he could do when he was up for the game against Joker, right? He came to prove a point that game, right? Is he going to come to prove a point against the Spurs? It's a cupcake matchup. He should be able to do whatever he wants in this game, but it's everyone else should be able to too. And so those are the games where he doesn't he's not sprinting down the court and then, Tobias will score. And so what I'm saying is he'll be taking possessions off. So this may be me overthinking it. And the matchup is superb. And if this game stays tight, he probably should nuke, but I think I would rather take Sabonis with Fox out. And you get the discount. You're getting a discount, right?
I'm trying to get them both if I can make that work, but I like them both, and a lot of it's just sort of what the rest of the lineup looks like. But I was just curious if you had a strong stance. But they're both really, really strong plays.
I mean, the Spurs should stink tonight. I mean, they don't have anybody running there. They're not going to play Josh Richardson huge minutes. He's their best point guard left.
You think he starts? We're projecting him to start.
Yeah, probably. If they don't, he'll get, but he's going to get he's not going to break 30 minutes, I don't think. And so he's going to be good when his time out there, but he's not going to absolutely go nuts. And this is a tough matchup. I just think this team is going to struggle. I mean, there's really only one person to shut down, and it's Keldon.
Big body.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't want to play, I mean, you can't imagine Pirtle having much success against Embiid.
But I think he's a great play, not to cut you off. I think he's an interesting play if Embiid doesn't go and he's taken on Paul Reed.
Oh, yeah. And Montrez and Harrell is the worst.
Then it's unleashed.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's so cheap because he hasn't been playing well. He's 5,600. Yeah.
Dean, I'm going to do the drawing quick on screen, all right?
Oh, let's do it. We're doing it live. What if you were to put a number in, Kirkwood, what would you put? Now remember game theory.
I put it in.
Oh, 69 was your number?
Yes.
I'm gonna go 70 just to one up you.
Oh,
but you got bottom. Yeah, you can't win basically. The rules basically were set up where you can't win. Is it 66? Is that what I'm seeing?
I went over.
Was it pushed? Producer Steve? Devin? Am I seeing 66?
Yes. So I'm checking the closest in the chat.
Without going over?
We have two we're giving away. Are we pulling the number twice or the closest to this one number? Twice.
The closest to this one number. It looks like it's D Basil 23 with 64.
Oh, wow. You almost got both showdowns. Nice done.
And we're going to do one more drawing because we said we'll give two away. So here's the next number.
I don't know if Showboat King's going to be cool with it. He's going to have some conspiracy theory.
37.
We're rigging it.
No.
Count the votes. Damar Hamlin is dead.
You know,
and it looks like for this one we got double M squared with 35.
Oh, there you go. Almost nailed it again. Nicely done. Well played. So game theory wouldn't have worked out this time, but it's only got to work out once for it to, point to the scoreboard. And next time we play this, still put up an 80. You never really know. And then you're basically clearing yourself the entire field. Spurs, Kelvin Johnson. I just ran the old Court IQ. No Jones, no Vassell, no Sohan. 1.24 fantasy points per minute, 32.5% as far as usage. If this game stays close, you got to assume he's doing his thing out there. And also, if you're a believer in the NBA defense versus archetype matchup tool here at RotoGrinders, and if you believe Big Body Kelton Johnson is a scoring wing, the matchup against Philadelphia is the number one matchup in all basketball from a fantasy perspective for scoring wings. I'm calling Josh Richardson a scoring wing. So it's a good matchup, and the usage, the opportunity is going to be there for both those guys. Richardson's going to see a ton of ownership. Keldon less, but similar to that Sabonis situation where he's the best raw point player, but, just because salary is a thing, he's not going to be as heavily owned. Your favorite Spur, you got a roster of Spur. It is who, all things considered?
I mean, Josh Richardson, I think, is going to be the safest, which is crazy. I think Branham is going to be a decent play. I think the upside play is what you said for Pirtle. And then Keldon is I just don't see it. I just think they're going to be able to lock down Keldon in this game at 70. Like, he's the guy with the high price tag. I get it. He's got the highest upside for scoring, but I just don't see it in this matchup. So it would be Richardson, Branham, or Pirtle.
Yeah. Branham character is not really good fantasy point per minute for what it's worth. He hasn't been so far this season.
I mean, but he's never had the opportunity. He just had this opportunity. He played really well in the last game. He can hit the three. He shot 5 threes, 3 from 5 and 3. He can hit a three. It's just with Trey Jones out. This is a good opportunity for him. Got 32 minutes in that game when he went down. So without Trey Jones, and he's cheap and he can score. So that's what they need.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's in the mix.
We just saw Knicks. Who's that guy? Houston, who's terrible. Put up a quality game at which I thought was crazy. But
Josh Richardson revenge game. You forget he was on Philadelphia. I thought he was gonna have a better career, fine career, but I thought he'd be better when he was on Miami. And Miami traded him away for
who else was he on?
Miami is where he started, and I watched him a good bit, a little bit inconsistent, but
Miami, Philly.
Was he on Boston at some point?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was on Boston, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. We got 3 more games. Crunch Time Crew coming in about 15, 20 minutes or so. Dallas, that's right. Good job, Izzy. Yeah. He was on Dallas. Forgot about that. What was the trade? Somebody tell me who he was traded for Miami. A straight up deal. All right. Toronto and Houston. 224 is the total. Toronto is an 8-point favorite here versus Houston. Kind of an interesting piece for Houston as far as the body part. We don't really know what the deal is with Jabari Smith. He has a hip. He's questionable. If he doesn't go, I would imagine Tari Eason will have more opportunities. He was spectacular tonight, in part because he could not make a layup. He had 17.
Dude, that were you watching, or did you just see the clip?
I was watching that game. Could this guy?
I was sweating that game too, and I was like, "This is unbelievable." It was so. It went from a block, rebound, offensive rebound. I think the ball got stolen from him. He stole it back, got a steal, got 7 offensive tips in, and then finally scored an and one at the last. Yeah. It was the craziest fantasy thing.
He had 17 fantasy points in 30 seconds, no joke, something like that. It was outrageous. Depending on where you're scoring, I suppose. But Şengün, man, I love Şengün, but I don't know if I can do this. 9K Alperen Şengün, 9K. Yes, Green is still out. Yes, KPJ is still out. Tate is back. He's available. No Jabari. Well, Jabari's questionable. We'll see. Man, I it's almost a little bit more for Sabonis. Is that where we're at as far as Şengün? He's going to basically be running this offense here. And we both talked about this on pre-show or at the top of the show. FVV, Freddie VanVleet, potentially one of his last games with the Raptors, might be on the move. Raptors been terribly disappointing this season. Who knows if he's going to resign there. He is so well positioned to just shine against Houston. Houston, horrific defensively. They give up the most three-pointers to opponents by over, I think, one full three-pointer, worse than like the next worst team. Lots of threes. Toronto's going to be bombing away. FVV is going to bang at least 5. Sure, why not? Trent can have a good time too. Toronto, Houston. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so you're right. So this is a great matchup. So it's on the road, so you hope that the Rockets can stay in this one. I'm not sure if they will, but you hope. Like you said, so the Rockets are 28th in defensive rating. They're dead last in opponent-made threes per game, which you just said. They are also dead last in opponent blocks per game and also dead last in opponent steals per game. This is like the absolute juiciest matchup you can get for a point guard. They are 30th in DVP versus the point guard position. FBV has been crushing lately, just coming off of his 73 fantasy point performance against the Jazz. The Jazz are a top 4 matchup for point guards, but Houston is the top matchup. The thing with FBV is that it's the minutes, right? Like Nurse plays his guys. Nurse is going to run their floor is like 35 plus minutes. It's probably 38 minutes. No
less than 35 for FBV.
Yeah. So it's Nurse plays his guys, going to get the massive minutes. Like he's got the best possible matchup in every spot on the floor. Let's go. Like this is the spot for him. 8,300 is still too cheap, and he's not even like going to be like too chalky tonight. So I was like, so I loved him. And then like when I was doing the rankings, I saw that you put him 1, and I was like, damn. Like Dean is on. Then I was like, is he going to be chalky? And I had to like double check, but he's not going to be too chalky. So this is the spot to play him again. Go right back to him. All sites. FanDuel, a little bit worse of a price, but DK, the price is so juicy. Yahoo, the price is juicy. This is one of the games where he can have like a bunch of steals. So I expect him to absolutely nuke tonight.
Yeah, when I was writing him up earlier today for the expert survey, he was 1% projected to be on FanDuel. Like I didn't think that would hold up, but yeah, 10% I think on FanDuel, a little bit higher on DK because the price is more appealing. But if he's 14%, I'm thrilled. If that's the number, if it's 20, sure. I just think he's really, really well positioned to just pummel. I said the only way he fails here is like if he gets traded mid-game or something like that. But I love him. Pascal Siakam, if it's not FAV, Pascal can certainly get the job done. This is one of those games where Scotty Barnes might pepper the box score, but he's kind of priced up. I'm okay if he's in your 150 mix, but I'm not isolating him as like my favorite play for a single entry contest.
That's the thing with them is it could be anyone. To be honest with you, it could be Gary Trent, it could be Barnes, it could be Siakam, it could be VanVleet, but that's the guy whom I'm prioritizing tonight.
All right, Rockets. Did we touch on the Rockets? Nobody's really getting an ownership over there, right? It would change if Smith is out. I think KJ Martin's getting 10% on DK. He's fine. Don't mind him if I land on it. And on FanDuel, better price there for Martin, 21%. Gordon, we've talked about Gordon, how his usage gets bumped in the absence of Green and KPJ. The price did get a bump, but he's still getting some ownership, not as much as he was last time. On FanDuel, 17%. His DK price now is 5.5, therefore only 7% as far as ownership. Anything else that you should say here as far as Houston? They're saying Easton's too expensive on DK. He is, unless you think he's going to get 19 more offensive rebounds, or if Smith is out, then I think you could play Easton. But as of right now, Easton is not on my radar. Last thought as far as Houston before we move on?
Eric Gordon's been balling lately, believe it or not. I'm coming off 2 really strong games. Like they kind of need him out there without Kevin Porter Jr., without Jalen Green. They need a guard to score. Knicks had a good game, but Knicks is not an NBA caliber player. He looked okay actually, which is crazy, but he shouldn't be. Yeah. But Eric Gordon, 29%, 27% usage. Like his usage has been rock solid without these guys out. I know he's older than Head Chopper, so it's a tough ask to pay, and his prices come up just a tad here. But I think he's in play.
Little behind on time. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So, but like I think Şengün is a great tournament play because of no one's going to want to play him at the price, but that's it. So it'd be Gordon or Şengün.
They're talking about Toronto and FEV. Maybe he enters the Kyrie Irving conversation. Yeah. Curious how that goes down. Okay. Let's talk. I'm just going to step aside and let you handle this one for Orlando and Minnesota because we're a little bit behind on time. 229.5 is the total. Minnesota is a 5-point favorite. I mean, obviously goes without saying, play Naz Reid if Gobert is out. Maybe that's another reason why I don't know. We like the centers, and yeah, I want to save a spot for Reid if we don't know with Gobert. But who's in and who's out? Isaac should be available for Orlando, so Orlando basically fully healthy. Not he's going to play a lot of minutes, but available, and Okiki's not. Minnesota, it's the same deal. Gobert questionable. Prince is questionable. I will yield. Magic, Minnesota, what do you got?
I like Paulo Banchero. I like Franz Wagner. Those are probably it. On the other side of the game, I think you can play Kyle Anderson anytime at these price where he's like 5,700. I think that's just fine. I mean, this is an Anthony Edwards. He got snubbed for the All-Star, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think he made it, but I don't like the term snub.
Yeah.
If you say snub, you got to tell me who he replaces.
Anybody. He should have been an All-Star.
Okay, but you can't just say somebody's snub. The rules
so
are.
Put the whole all the reserves up in front of me. Oh. You told me not to waste time, and now you're
because you sidetracked the show, and then
he got snubbed. Did he get okay? Did he not make the?
I'm saying you can't call it a snub unless you tell me who he should replace. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you should have just yielded there. And just said yes, he didn't make it, and we would move on. So this is the all-star snub. Anthony Edwards goes absolutely nuclear and makes a point game tonight. No one's going to play him. He's too expensive. He's been so damn good. But he's got 70 fantasy point upside tonight.
Banchero, according to the chat, do you like Banchero in Orlando?
Yes, I already said that.
Okay, I apologize. I was Googling all-star players. What they're doing, understanding, is their game of like schoolyard pick'em, which is going to totally screw up like any sort of like contest for DFS. Because I don't know if you know you don't know who's playing for who until like almost close to when the game's starting. I think that's what's going on. I don't know when they're doing it. It seems like a fun idea until like you want to like bet on it. I don't know. We don't have time to get into such things. But yeah, your official thoughts as far as Minnesota and Orlando. Are we done? Are we moving on?
We're done.
Okay, good. Last game, the Hammer, 9:00 game. Again, this is a short sprint slate. 7 of the first 8 games tip off within the first hour. Wait another hour. You got Atlanta and Utah. 242 is a total. Atlanta is a 1-point dog here, high and tight. As far as the body parts, Atlanta is fully healthy. Everybody good to go for the Hawks, and Utah fully healthy. So high and tight, but both teams are fully healthy, and everybody's kind of priced where they should be. Where are you shopping here? Who's appealing to you as far as Utah and Atlanta?
All right. So this game is pretty appealing from like an overall metric standpoint. It's a tight, like you said, high and tight, 242-point total, 1.5-point spread. The thing I like, I'm looking more towards the Hawks side. The Jazz have, I always say this, they have a bunch of guards who are just like pretty bad. Like they have like one good characteristic, but they don't have like a complete game set. Like Clarkson is just a scorer. He's terrible on defense. He'll turn over the ball a bunch of times. Conley's kind of just kind of is what he is at this point in his age. And then they have like Malik Beasley and things like that. So this is a top 4 matchup for opposing point guards. Trae Young, great spot for him, but also a good spot for DeJounte Murray because he's going to be guarding Jordan Clarkson, who Clarkson is going to have the ball. He's going to be ball dominant as always. And DeJounte is going to be up, and it's going to be ripe for steals. The Jazz are 22nd in opponent steals per game. So I really like Murray. I think Trae Young this could be a potential ceiling game for him. So I have interest there. I would not play them both together, obviously, one or the other. But I do like them both in theory. But Murray would be my first pick of the two. Other than that, Laurie Markkinen is the guy. I think Clarkson's going to bust tonight with DeJounte all over him, and he's going to be pretty popular because of price. So that's the guy I'll be fading.
Okay. By the way, if you like the defense versus archetype matchup tool, second best matchup in all basketball, if you consider Laurie Markkinen a versatile forward, is facing the Atlanta Hawks. So like Markkinen, kind of pricey, but certainly a good play, good matchup as well. It's an interesting game because I don't know how much of it I'm going to get. I'm surprised at some of the ownership stuff. 25% on Markkinen, 20%. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Trae Young at 15%.
I mean, it's a 242 point total, and these guys are priced. These guys are priced pretty reasonably, and they have a lot of upside. So they're gonna project well, decent.
Yeah. Any questions that are popping up in the chat before we got the Crunch Time crew coming in a few minutes? I'm sure Andy and Squirrel Patrol, as well as chief mineralogist Kevin Roth. He'll be manning that ship for sure. Fire off a couple of questions by all means. Your favorite play on the entire slate? Who's the guy that you're absolutely making sure that this is the dude I'm going to play him? Is it FVV? We both seem to like him a good bit.
That's who it is.
Freddie Van Vliet. And we talked about the situation with Embiid. Plan accordingly. He may or may not play. 8 o'clock game. Probably not get that news till after 7. Same deal with Gobert. Gobert, 8 o'clock as far as Utah. If he doesn't go, it's Naz Reid season. Aaron has a question in chat saying Fanduel single entry. Jabari Smith is in. There you go. So Jabari Smith and Gary Trent or Denny Avdia. I did not consider Avdia because Washington is like fully healthy now and he's priced up. I think the answer is Trent, but I don't love either. You tell me.
I mean, it's hard to deny what Avdia has been doing lately. And the minute, so he's been getting, 30 around 30-ish minutes with, 33-minute upside. Although he has had some tasty matchups. So he's had Houston, New Orleans, and San Antonio, all really strong matchups for him. This should be another decent matchup. I mean, that's really close.
3-pointers against Houston. Come on, Trent.
Yeah, I know, but I like Fred tonight.
Well, he's not going to hit them all. He's going to assist.
He might very well hit them all.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, that Trent is probably the right play, but something tells me I'd go with Denny.
Nasty
mostly because I would have Van Fleet in my lineup with him.
Yeah, I think you could play two guys on Toronto against Houston. We were talking about Markkinen's ownership on DK. He's also going to be reasonably owned on FanDuel. 21.4% is our current projection. Gordon or Avdia, if you were to pick between those two, I think that's You were touting Eric Gordon in the year 2020.
I like Eric Gordon, but I give me Denny.
Let's see, Boucher, which is kind of ambitious, like 20 minutes or so, or Craig for Phoenix.
Craig. It's such a bad matchup though. But just go with the
minutes are more solidified.
Yeah, go with with Cam Johnson out.
If you're feeling ambitious, you're feeling froggy, I hear you on Boucher, but so like 150 big tournament, a lot of money up top. Nathan wants to know, who do you like at point guard and center on FanDuel Cash Game? He's going to help you out with that. He's going to be in here momentarily. And Andy's going to go around the horn, position by position on FanDuel, on DK. He's going to tell you exactly who he likes. And I'm telling you, if you're playing cash games tonight, he's not going to build your lineup, but if you're paying attention, he kind of, sort of, somewhat does. Just pay attention. It's not too hard. He'll give you a much better answer on that for sure, I promise you. Favorite game stack? Is there a game stack you like tonight?
Yeah. It's the Detroit Charlotte.
Really? That's your favorite game stack?
It really is. I think it's going to be under-owned.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of cheaper pieces that have really good upside, like Jalen Duran. I think LaMelo this is a ceiling spot for him. So I think Alec Burks is a decent play. So I think
build it for me. It's like LaMelo.
I'm not here to build it for you, Dean.
What's your start? Is it like a 2-1, a 2-2? What are we doing?
Yeah, that's a game. 2-1 is fine. 2-2 is okay.
So you want to start? You want to go into battle tonight with Alec Burks, Jalen Duran, and LaMelo, something like that.
Yeah, maybe a Plumlee.
Yeah, I mean we know Detroit's horrendous on the
Maybe
inside.
maybe a Bogey.
Yeah, I suppose. We have so interesting 8 teams, right? 8 games, 16 teams. That's math. There is the 6 worst defensive teams are playing tonight. Defensive rating: San Antonio in this order: San Antonio, Detroit, Houston, Charlotte, Utah, and Portland. And the top 5 teams, as far as getting pummeled on the inside, yielding points inside, points in the paint, are also on the slate. Some overlap, no surprise. San Antonio, Detroit, 1-2 again. Sacramento, Utah, and Atlanta. We didn't really talk about Capella just because he's kind of lost in this slate, but this is a slate where he certainly could get to like a 15-15 here against Utah. Wouldn't surprise me. And Kessler, that dude just like he has, I think he's, obviously he's outplaying Gobert, who he was traded for. And then there's like 9 picks on layaway too. So good job, Utah. It's Andy Means. It's Squirrel Patrol. It's Kevin Roth. What's up, boys? Happy Friday.
Howdy.
Happy Friday.
Andy, I told you before in the DM via Slack that I appreciated your road trip reference in today's survey. Yeah.
I used to I always got a little scared when I would kind of toe the line on the edginess. Now I'm really scared because I technically make the decision on what's allowed, and so usually someone would smack my wrist, but now it's so I don't know. I like using the term boner. Sorry, Sabonis.
Yeah. Was that his official nickname? Kirkwood is basically our nickname expert. Is that Domantas Sabonis? Is that his official nickname? Or
Funny thing is I created that nickname.
You did.
Boner?
7 years ago. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh wow.
Officially. I patent pending.
I bet we got a GrindersLive link somewhere in the archives that has you saying it.
I bet we don't. I think he made this up. This is just nonsense. I don't believe Kirkwood here.
I mean, that's one of the best nicknames going. Saboner. And how fun when he's going off and you're just going boner, and chat
mixed message if there's other people in the room, but yeah, I hear you.
And then you get the erect references and things like that.
You can't put a value on that, right? When you're doing your
you get the rocket ship emoji. It's there's a lot of.
There was a sitcom in the 80s called Growing Pains, and one of the main characters,
Richard Milhouse Boner.
And that was that seems kind of risque looking back, but good for ABC or CBS, whoever greenlit that. I don't know. What's up, Roth? Do you remember Growing Pains?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of the greatest shows. Richard Milhouse Stabone. And they called him Boner. It was great.
I was just going back and reading Meansy's Boner reference from the expert
Kirk
article.
Cameron. You don't know Kirk Cameron?
I don't know who these people are.
The Seavers.
So you don't know who Kirk Cameron is?
Is he a sporting fellow? I don't know who he is. No.
Jesus.
Do you know who Scott Baio is? Do you know Scott Baio?
Was in the show.
I literally have no idea the names you guys are throwing in.
Robin Thicke. Have you heard of Robin Thicke?
Yeah, he's the guy who sings a song.
His dad was on the show. His dad was the dad.
No, that's his son. His son. You're thinking of his son who sings the song.
No, Dean's right. Dean, the son is Robin Thicke. The dad is Alan Thicke on Growing Pains.
I know. That's the dad on Growing Pains. I know. I'm saying Roth is thinking of the son.
Roth has no idea.
I just grew up playing video games. I didn't watch any of these Growing Pains or any of these other things. I'm sorry.
Mr. Donk is saying, just to be clear, it's first time Saboner. No, I don't. Wait, is his first time back in Indiana? That's a good question. I know where they played. Is this a first blood revenge game in Indiana? And how?
I feel like they played at the end of last season.
They did, but was it in Sacramento? Is the question. I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have much either, but I don't know. You got anything else, Kirkwood? We should probably step aside and let the boys do their thing.
Go get them.
All right, that's Chris
Later,
Kirkwood.
fellas.
I was Dean. Hit that like button, and here comes Kevin Roth.
Good stuff, as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is now crunch time. It's sponsored by Fanduel. And as per usual, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. Andy Means. What up, Means? It's boner time.
Friday. It's boner time. Hit the lights. You've seen that movie, right?
Yes. I have seen that movie. What's bad is that I've got my entire extended family just in the room right next to me at dinner. I'm like, it's boner time. Yeah. So what exactly does Kevin do again? Don't worry.
It's actually on a 900 number right now.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to know. How you feeling about the slate?
I feel good. Feeling good.
Excellent. I like that. We got Squirrel as well coming in with the
Okay.
GPP hot takes. The guy has been to literally 72 live finals. Or is actually more.
He's
than
like
that.
actually no more actually.
It's
I think it's actually
94.
70 seats.
70
but
seats.
But it's like 70 because there's only like 3 a year. I guess there's like maybe like 6 a year. Like
He's like, I can only get like 6 per
Yeah.
live
I can only go
final.
like,
So,
and some of them were like COVID finals. Like so, like it's a mess.
Okay, so 70 some live finals. Bottom line is he knows how to win tournaments, and that is what he is here to help us do. Squirrel, how do you feel about the slate?
Yeah, it should be good. So I'm coming off my worst ever NBA beat last night. And it was awful. So I was up 35 for the DraftKings live final seat, going into the fourth quarter of the last game, and nobody had anybody left. Like I was up 35 on everybody. Somebody had Giannis left and he was 35 points behind me. And I'm like, well, Giannis can't get 35 points in a quarter. He's dribbled the basketball up.
Oh my god!
On the close, it was unbelievable. It was like the only shots he missed, he then got the offensive rebound and scored even more points. Like, yeah, he'd miss a layup, get an offensive rebound, dribble out, hit a 3-pointer. But I made money on the night, and I still felt like awful. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe. I was like, I know who I'm going to invite to dinner. This is great.
Yeah, you already had it planned out. You were, oh man, that's rough. Yeah,
this should be a great slate tonight.
Okay, well, we're just going to run it back. Only this time, you're not going to get screwed over at the last minute.
Exactly.
Hey, let's kind of dive into it. Means you can either give us a quick rundown, or you can just jump right into the FanDuel build, whatever you think is the wisest here.
Anything you'd like to say specifically about FanDuel, our sponsor?
I was going to hold that until I actually pulled it up, but we should probably note that you should sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers get the no sweat first bet up to $3,000. It's a new one this week. Also, FanDuel Single Entry Series, it's popping. Sponsored by RotoGrinders, it's back. Reserve your spot in the Friday NBA Block Contest. $3 to enter, your chance at $1,000. And then at the end, if you do well in the single entry, you just get more money thrown at you. It's bonus money on top of the money you win. So make sure you're signing up for that.
That's a giant offer, by the way. Like that $3,000 is like a huge.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Down. That's gigantic.
Yeah.
Like you should take advantage of that.
Yep. Make sure you're doing it. Okay. With that said, thanks, Means. Let's talk about the slate.
Well, I usually like to take my last sip of alcohol before when you go into that.
All right, smart ass.
Yeah. So that's why I was throwing that to you. All right. So not much to zoom out on. A lot of the stuff we already know. The 2 Q tags are familiar names: Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid. As we saw on Wednesday, these Q tags still mean something apparently because Gobert got rolled out. Nas had 52 DraftKings points at 3,800. So. And like I always say, they're just not nearly as highly owned as they would be if the news happened before. So we'll see if those guys play tonight. I really don't have a feel either way. So those are the 2 looming ones. And we know Nurk's out. We know De'Aaron Fox is out. The Spurs have 4 guys out. So when I'm talking, as I go through here now on FanDuel, I will be talking about a lot of Kings, Spurs, and Blazers. So FanDuel, I think, 2 spins I really like, and that's who I've tagged: LaMelo Ball and Domantas Sabonis. Point guard for LaMelo, Sabonis is power forward, center. One of my favorite cheap plays at guard is Alec Burks. They just kind of keep him priced in this general range, in the 5K. He's in the high 4s, the past game or 2. But when he's been in the starting role, he's been averaging 30 minutes and upper 20s draft or FanDuel points. So he's a cheapie I like. Davion Mitchell, I like a little more on DraftKings where it's a little tighter pricing. He's $3K over there. He's fine on FanDuel at 3.8. Not one of my favorite cheapies, but good as the last piece. And then up top is for sure Dame at 10.2. No Nurk. I know they rolled out Gary Payton, which doesn't move the needle much for Dame, but he's my favorite spin up after LaMelo. I think that's the main priorities at point guard. Shooting guard. All right, so this is where we get into a bunch of those teams I was talking about. So we have Burks, but then you have Herter 5.5. Jay Rich 5'5", Malik Monk 5'3". Like those three dudes, I think are probably after Burks, who I think is probably my favorite, barely. I would say those three guys were probably my favorite cheapies on the slate. So Monk's only shooting guard. Richardson is shooting guard, small forward. Herder's shooting guard, small forward. So a lot of flexibility there with those guys. Anthony Simons is 6'4". He's all right. DeJounte Murray, 8'6". He's all right. Harden's 9'3". If Embiid happens to get rolled out, he'd be for sure lock and load as one of the best spin ups. And that game's that game's an hour after the slate lock, so that's something to monitor. But yeah, I think shooting guard and most of the small forward is going to be saving. And so then small forward, I mentioned two of those guys, Richardson and Herder. Then you have Harrison Barnes at 5'7". Then you have Malachi Branham at he's 4'4". I think he's an option as well. Probably start for the Spurs with all those guys out. He's a much better play on DK, which we'll get to. If you're spinning up, it's Lauri Markkanen. And then I also didn't mention Keegan Murray, who I'm fine with in that 5K range. Prefer those other guys more, though, just a little bit. So saving here as well, unless you're playing Lauri. Or Lauri Markkanen. Sorry.
Wow.
Lowry. Power forward. I mentioned Sabonis. Love him. Jeremy Grant. Love him. He's 6'7". Those are my two preferred options here. I'll talk about center in a second in case you want to play Sabonis here at power forward. Eubanks at 4'6". Again, like him more on DK, but he's 4'6" on FanDuel, which is it's still a little bit too cheap, but not something we would expect. Like, oh, Nurk's out. Who's the guy who's playing? Like, I'm surprised. I guess I'm surprised in general that his projection is this low and that his ownership is this low. Like, I like him more on DK, but I think this guy, if they just give him normal-ish minutes, like if they do the split like 32-16 tonight, he could have a really, really big night for that price tag. And Washington is vulnerable to opposing centers. So I really do like him. Not a priority, though. Time Lord at 5'9", he would be the other one I mentioned. And this real quick, if you want to play Sabonis at power forward, let's look at some centers. I mentioned Time Lord. I did mention John Collins. He's 5'6". I think he's okay. Shingun, rough night on Wednesday. Usage was a little lower even than I would think for him. But he still had, I'm telling you, man, he sucked and he had 36 FanDuel points. So, like, I mean, I would absolutely play him in cash games again if it fits your build at 8-4. Don't be scared by what happened on Wednesday. Embiid, probably not an Embiid slate for me personally. I like going through Sabonis, like going through LaMelo. Like that route a little better. So it's center would be either Sabonis, Eubanks, or Shingun. I think that's about it for me. And Time Lord. That's it.
Okay, very good. I want to get Squirrel's takes here in GPPs. First, I want to note that this might be the first time in history that if I was drinking a beer, everyone on the show would be drinking a beer, and I'm the one ruining it. Like, what are the odds that I'm the guy not drinking the beer?
What happened?
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Topo Chico. Squirrel's got a beer. Meansy's got the stubby.
Oh, I didn't even see Squirrel with one. What you got over there,
He
Squirrel?
just subtly brought up a whole mug.
Yeah,
and
it's
here I
Burgess'
am.
new 2005 mug. Novelty mug, and a maniacal IPA from Port City, Alexandria, Virginia, nearby local brewer.
How boring is Roth?
I know. I'm sorry. I'm letting the whole show down. I'm letting the whole world down. I apologize, guys. Okay, Squirrel. Let's talk tournaments. And can we start talking Sabonis? Because everyone's like, ooh, he's hard to fade because he's going to crush. What are you doing with Sabonis? Are you with the field, going all in, fading?
So I've got a lot of Sabonis. So I actually, if I have to choose one spend up, I'm probably spending up for Damian Lillard instead of Sabonis. But you don't necessarily have to choose one or the other. You maybe have to choose two out of like Lillard, LaMelo Ball, and Sabonis. And so I like Lillard the best, then probably Sabonis, then LaMelo.
Okay, very good. Well, walk me through a little FanDuel tournament build and your thoughts in general, please.
Sure. So, we're not waiting on a ton of injury news. It's basically Rudy Gobert and Joel Embiid. But like at point guard, LaMelo Ball is really hard to get away from because he's only 9,100. Like he's 9,800 or something, or 9,600 on DraftKings. Like he shouldn't be so much cheaper on FanDuel. So LaMelo Ball, Alec Burks is like multi-positional guard, and he's like positionality thing helps him. I'm getting a lot more of him on FanDuel. He's a little bit cheaper, I think, on FanDuel as well. But like Damian Lillard is my guy. Getting some Davion Mitchell as well, and some James Harden. But like it's mostly like I'm definitely very high on Damian Lillard. He won me a ton of money like a week ago, but like he's been going absolutely berserk all month. Like actually all year since like the clock turned. He's got like a bunch of games over 50 points. Damian Lillard, and there's no reason to think like Washington's going to stop him. And then then Davion Mitchell and Malik Monk facing Indiana. Indiana gives up a ton of points. Monk's actually a shooting guard. Malik Monk, Alec Burks, Gary Trent, James Harden, getting some Josh Richardson. But moving on to small forward, I'm higher on Malachi Branham, I think, relative to the field than I am Josh Richardson. Branham's their first round pick. He's projecting like pretty well, but I'm giving him like a manual boost because I think like if like San Antonio's playing for nothing, they're giving up like an absurd amount of points. Like he's their first round draft pick. Like he's coming off the best game of his career. Why would they not just put him out there and like let him do whatever he wants? Like just shoot the ball as much as you want. Like he's small forward on FanDuel, but he's like I think he's probably gonna be playing point guard. So like giving Malachi Branham a manual boost. Also really like Lauri Markkanen. Power forward, like Jeremy Grant, like Drew Eubanks. I like pairing them with Damian Lillard, and I like running it back with Kyle Kuzma in like some amount of tournament lineups. I also like Sabonis as well. And then just moving on to center, Eubanks, Sabonis. I've got some Embiid, I like playing Embiid because he could go absolutely berserk against San Antonio, but there's enough games that if he's ruled out, like there's enough games at the 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock time frame. I think 3 at 8, 1 at 9. You can probably like swap around stuff. I have more Embiid on DraftKings though, where like there's a utility spot and you can swap Embiid to Harden and make like a 2 versus 2 swap on DraftKings, putting Embiid in the utility spot, but it's still doable with some amount of lineups on FanDuel.
Okay, good stuff, man. I like it. Let's kick it over to DK. Means you walk us through that. I'm going to mute my mic so that you can't hear everyone screaming.
You got it. All right, so DK, I only have Sabonis tagged, but there's like 5 dudes basically that I think are, I don't want to say like the next one's in, but there's just like this crop of cheap players that it's hard to differentiate, in my opinion, like how to play them all. So like I'll go through them as I go through positions, but they're most likely going to be a Kings player or a Spurs player. So point guard on FanDuel, my first move here is going cheap. So you have, actually, I'll just talk about guard in general. You have Branham at 3.6, who Squirrel gave a great explanation on. And I like the salary relief means more on DK. So he's probably my favorite of the cheapies. And he is point guard, shooting guard on DK. We're working our way up. We have his teammate, Josh Richardson, perfectly fine with him. Malik Monk, perfectly fine with him. Like, those are 3 of my favorites on the slate. Then Davion Mitchell's 3K. Probably don't need him with all this other stuff and, like, not great places to spend besides Sabonis, maybe Dame. So you might not need it, but he would be in that realm for me as like a last piece on DK. Other spend ups would be landed on some Franz Wagner just as a last piece. I've landed on some LaMelo as a last piece, but definitely prefer Dame up top at 10.6. Still have him below Sabonis, but he would probably be the next one in there for me. Let's see here. That's enough about the guards. Let's go to a small forward. So Harrison Barnes is probably my preferred option here. Not because I like Harrison Barnes, but because Fox is out, good matchup, and you're getting a lot of minutes, and you're just getting kind of one of those guys who grinds his way to value, which I don't love, but I think he's been the guy I've been landing on the most. Something cheaper would be Oh, and I did mention Kevin Herter there as well. I didn't mention him at shooting. I don't think I mentioned him at shooting guard, but he's 5'4". I like him right there as well. I prefer Barnes a little bit more if you're using one of those guys at small forward. Cheaper would be Aaron Nesmith maybe. More expensive would be Paolo and Lauri Markkanen. Yeah, that's about it. I would prefer to just go in that 5K range though. Power forward. Saric, assuming he starts, I think he's fine. I would prefer to play guys from those other teams I've been talking about. I really like Jeremy Grant at 6'6". Harrison Barnes has this power forward eligibility. Keegan Murray at 5'1". And then the two guys I mentioned just a second ago, Paolo and Markkanen. But probably Jeremy Grant here for me, or Barnes or Saric. Is what I'm looking at. Then center, you have Sabonis with only center eligibility. I like Eubanks a lot more on DK at 3'8". Embiid probably falls third on the list for spin ups for me behind Sabonis and Dame. Trying to think if there's anyone else. Saric is there. Wouldn't play Pirtle and Cash. Gobert, probably not for me. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, very good. A weather note. This from Jay King, who is a Celtics beat writer for The Athletic, says it's not just freezing outside in Boston. Several Celtics players noting how cold it is inside the arena tonight. Yeah, you know how hard it is to shoot with cold hands? Give me the under.
All NBA. Give me the. You won't go write it up on scores and odds right now.
Write it up
please.
on scores and odds. Give me the under on the inside cold weather game in Boston. You can't run properly. It's hard to breathe.
That's saying a lot because all NBA arenas are cold, man. For them to actually go out of their way to say how cold it is, it's probably 60 in there or something.
Yeah, and the actual another reporter notes the Garden is usually one of the coldest buildings in the league. It must be really frigid for them to be making a note about it. So, does it actually matter? Probably not. But I'm a weatherman. I'm going to play it up.
Oh my God, what's the under? This is great.
Give me the under. Give me the under.
Oh my God, looks like it's 220. Oh yeah, okay.
Not in that weather, baby. Squirrel, let's talk tournaments on DK. You already gave us kind of your biggest tip, which was you like Embiid here setting up a 2v2, but I imagine there's some other things you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, so just one note. It looks like Isaiah Stewart is starting for Detroit. It's not in place of Sadiq Bey. It's not a huge deal. I don't think any of those guys are relevant for cash games. Just a note, if you had Sadiq Bey, you might want to reconsider. And Stewart's not cheap enough that you necessarily want to jam him in, but worth noting because the game starts at 7. I'm not going to go position by position because everything locks in 13 minutes, just some salary differences. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting less LaMelo Ball on DraftKings because he's more expensive on DraftKings. Getting more Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell's 3,000 on DraftKings. He's 3,800 on FanDuel. So on DraftKings, it's. I'm getting a ton of them because he's only 3,000 and you can play him at point guard at the guard spot, utility, So a ton of Davion Mitchell. Lauri Markkanen's a little bit more appealing on DraftKings because he's a little bit cheaper. I'm getting a lot more Fred VanVleet because he's cheaper. He's 8,300 on DraftKings. And then Paolo Banchero. He's 6,800 on DraftKings. So he's an okay play on FanDuel at 7,700, but at 6,800, that extra $900 does a lot for you on DraftKings. So getting a bunch of Paolo Banchero and you can put him at the small forward spot.
Okay, very good. Gentlemen, that leaves us with oodles of time. Still 12 minutes until lock. Is there anything either of you would like to add, or you want to just take some QQs and go off on tangents as needed?
Love tangents.
Yeah, okay. The latter it is. All right. Pulling up the RG Discord. That's where everybody should be hanging out. Let's see. Mike says, FanDuel GPP. Squirrel, I'm loving this revenge narrative with Sabonis and Halliburton mini stack, along with some other pieces in this game. Do you have any interest?
Yeah, I think you can do that. That's a fine narrative, and Indiana gives up a ton of points. So yeah, why not? And the only thing I said, I'm a little bit higher on Lillard than Sabonis. It's not a direct 1 versus 1. Sabonis doesn't benefit tremendously because De'Aaron Fox is out. It would be like Davion Mitchell benefits a lot because Fox is out. Sabonis like isn't going to see more playing time. He may get like a little bit more usage, a little bit more role in the offense, but like it's different positions. Like, but I think if you want to do like a Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis stack, like game stack, like that's great. Like go for
Very
it.
good. Okay, good stuff. FanDuel single entry scroll straight up. Time Lord versus Duren.
Jalen, Duren.
Okay, very good. NBA DFS says Rankum means this is last piece in FanDuel cash. Barnes, Herter, and Murray. K. Murray.
Oh, I was hoping no one asked me that. And they're on the same damn team. I'm going to go the Red Rifle. Wait, Red Rifle? Red Rocket?
Either
Kayvon.
way, the red guy.
Herter.
Yeah. Okay. You got a second? Because you did say Rankum. You got to order there.
Oh, yeah.
Barnes
Damn.
over Murray.
Yeah. In cash, I'd go Herter, Barnes, Keegan.
Very good. Okay. Luke Cage says, is Eric Gordon still good in DKGPPs?
I don't have a ton of them. It's a guy I think it was yesterday or the day before he was big. I'm not huge on Eric Gordon tonight.
Okay, nice. FanDuel single entry 3v3 squirrel right back at you. Rozier, Trent Şengün, or Edwards, big body Keldon Johnson, and Reed pending Gobert news.
I'm gonna go with the first one. Just a note on Naz Reid. So Rudy Gobert was questionable for like a bunch of games in a row. He finally actually sat. It was getting to be one of the LeBron things where he just played him even though he was questionable, just assuming it's like a fake questionable tag, and then he actually sat. Naz Reid went into the game, started for him, went absolutely berserk. But like both sites raised his price 1,000 or so. So Naz Reid is not as appealing. Like I'm not going out of my way to save space in case Naz Reid starts because he's 1,000 more expensive. So I'm going to go with the first one of that 3v3 because I'm not saving space for Naz Reid.
Okay. Very good. I didn't until today, and his name is Shadon Sharp.
Yeah.
Can I play him?
Yeah. So because Gary Payton's out, like he's playable.
Correct.
But I'm not I wouldn't go. It's again, I don't know how much Shaedon Sharp benefits with Gary Payton now. I'm playing a bunch of Portland guys, and I'm not going crazy with Shaedon Sharp.
Oh, that's not.
He's their first round pick, I think.
Well, that's what I thought. Was this? That's why. Yeah, I thought maybe this would be the time for him to get a little bit of extra run with somebody out.
But Payton was out for most of the year, I feel like, and Sharp was still pretty up and down, not necessarily seeing a bunch of playing time. Okay, if Payton and Josh Hart were both out, then you would want to play maybe some Shaedon Sharp.
There's still a
Wendell Carter just got ruled out.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Means Wendell Carter out. Anyone that jumps to mind immediately when you see that news?
Mo Wagner, assuming he starts, but that wasn't on the radar today because he wasn't on the injury report. So that was weird. I would guess Mo Wagner. What about you, Squirrel?
Could be some Mo Bamba.
Yeah, I have to go back. I'm going to go back and look and see. I'm going to pull up Guard IQ. It's basically the short and easy answer is who starts. So that's going to be very key because they have him. They have Mo Wagner, they have Bamba, and they have Bull, who they could throw in there. There's still a lot of minutes to go around, or a lot of guys to take these minutes. Mm-hmm. So they could split them to the guys, or they could give one guy a lot of them. And those guys are all cheap, I'm assuming, and they're all really good per minute. So it is highly volatile, highly rewarding if you get the right one, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay. Squirrel, are you in agreement where you're only if one of those guys, one of them has to start, I guess, but you just have interest in whoever's starting?
I'll say, yeah, it's going to depend, but it could be a big deal because Mo Bamba is $3K on DraftKings. And if he's starting, it's a big deal. I'm already getting a bunch of Paolo Banchero on DraftKings because he's 1,000 keeper on DraftKings versus FanDuel. But if Mo Bamba is starting, I'm going to be highly interested.
Okay. Good note. All right. Let's see. Scrolling back up just a wee bit here. DK Cash means should we leave room for a Nas swap if Gobert gets ruled out? Squirrel kind of touched on this a little. His price is up a bit.
I would not.
Okay. Very good. Do we know if Embiid is starting? We do not. Correct. We do not. Yeah. DKGPP Squirrel, how many players would you play from the same team? Is 4 too many?
I'll do 4 if I run it back, but I'm generally not going to do 4 unless I'm playing somebody from the other team.
Okay. And does it also, does it take like, does that take a special circumstance, like not tonight? Like 3 of their stars are out and there's 4 cheap, good pieces? Or would you do 4 on a random night?
I wouldn't do, yeah, I would, it would have to be something crazy, like not crazy, but like, yeah, if like every starter on the team is like 3,900 and less, then like, yeah, sure, play 4 of them.
Gotcha.
But like normal situations, I'm not going to play 4 guys from the same team.
Okay, that's kind of what I was curious about. Excellent. DK Cash means how many kings or too many kings?
DK Cash?
Yes.
I would say too many is 5.
Okay. All right. So 4 viable there. Mike says FanDuel GPP Squirrel. I'm going with a Roth build. His words, not mine. But I do like it. I do like it. Dame, Halliburton, Sabonis, Van Vliet. Am I leaving myself too thin? Like, is there enough value elsewhere on this slate, basically?
I think there might be now. Like with Wendell Carter out, like we're going to see like who's starting, but like, there could be good value coming up. So, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't even like talk about like those guys on DK, like Paolo and Franz are cheap. Like they're in the 6s, man. I think those guys are really good plays now. Because like Wendell plays a lot of minutes, but like the rebounds, I think that matters too. His usage is okay, but like those Franz and Paolo are pretty good rebounders for their position. And that opens up a lot in that regard. So I think those guys are really, really good plays on DK now too.
Okay, very good. We've got about 4 minutes left. Still got plenty of questions coming in. If you're watching this on the YouTube, free content, all we ask for is the little thumbs up. So go ahead, hit that like button. We appreciate it. It's what keeps the show free. So make sure
there's Bamba.
Hit the little thumbs up. What's that?
Bamba's starting.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big deal. Like you maybe want to okay, so the game doesn't start until 8 o'clock. You maybe
they're 80s,
go crazy with like centers before 8 o'clock.
Okay, so in GPPs, you're limiting your center exposure until 8 so that you can basically get more of him and figure it out.
Play like Sabonis. I'd try to not play him at center.
Okay,
if possible.
That's a really good note. Means when you see Mo Bamba starting, are you thinking, okay, this is a guy I want in my cash build?
Oh yeah, he's 3K. I would play him for sure.
Okay. Is this going to be like a false starter deal where he still only gets 20 minutes, or is that okay? Is that all right?
I think even if he plays like worst case scenario, he plays like 1 rotation in each quarter, or even in each half, and he still gets you like 18 points. So like I would play him. I think he's gonna pop really hard when the projection's up. They would be my guess.
Okay, so if you were updating your core tags, you would now have him as a core tag, basically.
Yeah, I probably will tag him here in a little bit.
Yeah, not to put undue work on you, but all right. So there you have it. Bamba in. A few more QQs that came in here. Let's see. NBA DFS says, Squirrel, I'm going to hand this to you. Collins, Markkanen, or Harden, Eubanks. The first one gives me some flex. If Nas plays, I could put him in for Collins.
I'd still, I think, go with the second. The second one was Eubanks and Harden.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd go with Eubanks and Harden. Like Embiid could sit instead of Gobert. I like Eubanks.
Okay.
Well, you know what? With the Bamba news, I might. What was the first one?
It was Collins, Markkanen.
Maybe I'd go with Collins, Markkanen. And then, yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to switch.
No, you're fine. It's just a flexibility thing for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, DK Cash straight points means Grant or Boncaro. DK points, not points in the bucket.
Paolo.
Very good. DK Cash means Mitchell Markkanen or Grant and J Rich.
I'll do the second one.
Okay, I'm going to jump ahead to this question real quick. Meansy, Sabonis and Monk from the first game only for you in Cash, you think?
I can see on DK. I can see Barnes in there just because positional stuff, or like one of those small forwards.
Very good. DK single entry, Squirrel. What are your thoughts on 2 Jazz running it back with 2 Hawks?
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of tournament lineup I like.
Very good. Okay. Means FanDuel Cash 2v2, Barnes and Ginger Herder, or Jay Rich and Time Lord?
I would do the first one.
Very good. Means you seem down. You okay? You good?
Just trying to process all this Magic stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Your 3 favorite spend ups in order, Squirrel.
Yeah, so I think it's Damian Lillard, then DeMontis Sabonis, then LaMelo Ball.
Very nice. Okay. Yahoo GPP, Squirrel, Eubanks or Bamba? Is Mo, baby. I think.
Sorry, Eubanks or Bamba?
Yeah.
DK?
Yeah. This was Yahoo, but.
Ooh, Yahoo. I don't know the pricing. If I had to choose one, I'd probably go Eubanks if they're the same price.
But you just told me I should love Mo Bamba.
I love Mo Bamba on DraftKings because he's 3,000.
Okay.
Eubanks on like FanDuel is 4,600. Versus Bomba's probably 3,900. At the same price, I think I like Eubanks better, but like on DraftKings, Bomba's only 3,000.
Gotcha. Very good. Okay. Excellent stuff. Guys, we have hit the lock. And we've answered all the questions. So that is pretty good. Anything that you want to add? Means you've been chewing on something in your mouth and in your brain. I can see it. You just...
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I just don't feel like I've addressed the Orlando thing properly, but I'm just trying to figure out like what they're doing. I know I saw our first projections update go in, and I think it went through before the Bamba starting news announced because we have Wagner at 27 minutes. So I'm guessing that'll get updated again. Like Paolo, like Franz. I don't know, man. Like, why would they start Bamba and not play him? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just weird situation because that was hard to prepare for because he wasn't on the injury report. So
right. Well, I mean, I think we're at a good spot. Paolo gets a bump, and we like Bamba, and guys like Wagner get a bump, right?
Yeah, I would play Bamba. I'd play Bamba and Franz and Paolo. That's my official advice.
I like it. I think that works. And with that, I think we can bounce on out of here. I'm just watching my family eat these delicious Mexican food. So I'm going to go take part in that. So for Means, for Squirrel, for our wonderful production crew, always.
And with that being said, good luck to everybody tonight. You have been crunched.
Well,